Hi, my name is Che, and our group is called Semicolon.
My name is Darius.
And my name is Ryan. For our group project, we decided to create a 2D fighting game. Darius and I worked on the game art, and Che and our fourth member worked on the game code. Unfortunately, our fourth member dropped out of university, so he's not able to be here today.
Our game is called Super Fighting Friends, and we've made it in Game Maker Studio 2.
Our five main viable features were two-player gameplay, health values, movement and combat controls, art assets, and menus and interfaces.
For the art assets, the art design team used an application called Sprite. For our menus and interfaces, we made a few mock-up designs where that our fourth member was supposed to go off by, and we created the finalized versions of the mock-ups with the controls on the right side, just like in the mock-ups, and we added a few options to select from, but we didn't end up putting it into our game.
Our fourth member was in charge of the actual code for the menu, but because he dropped out, the MVF never got finished.
So the movement and combat controls were obviously coded into the game using Game Maker. We just had to set up which buttons would correspond to which action, and then get the player moving in a certain direction. So we set it up so that player 1 uses the WASD keys and F to punch, player 2 uses the arrow keys and the slash button to punch. This was pretty easy to integrate. We also had to set up collisions so that you don't just fall through the floor, or so that you can actually play the game. The next MVF is for two-player controls, which turned out to be really simple. It was just a case of copying player 1's controls that we'd already set up, changing the values for player 2. Really quick MVF to add. The next MVF was a damage and health values, meaning that the players should be able to actually attack each other and have that attack deal damage. When the health got all the way to 0, the game would end, one player would win. This turned out to be a bit harder than expected. We've started it. We have HP values for each character that do go down when they get hit. We've just been having a bit of trouble getting the actual punches to appear in the right location, because you need a whole separate hitbox to appear in the exact position of the punch, and then have that collide with the other player. That needs to be able to appear anywhere in the game, wherever the player begins their punch. It's a bit complicated. Watched a lot of tutorials and stuff on it, and it's currently a work in progress. It's sort of working, but it's buggy, and it's the main final roadblock we need to finish our game.
So for the art assets, I made the panda sprites and the health bars. The health values and the health bars didn't get finalized into the game, and it was added in, but it's not fully functioning properly yet. And the health bars didn't take that long to actually create. The panda sprites, I picked the panda. I created the panda character, I guess, just because it was an animal I liked. I'm not really sure why I picked it. For the frame rates, we try to keep everything as similar as possible, because originally we planned to make different frame data for the panda and Matt, which the other designer made. But it ended up being too awkward, since Matt would have it would look too fast, and the panda would look way too slow, and ended up just making our game look kind of weird. So in the end, we just decided on making the frames as similar as possible.
So continuing off of the art assets MVF, the second character that we created to fight alongside the panda was a boxer named Matt. As Darius said, the frame rates, we ended up making them kind of similar, so that also includes stuff like punching and jumping. So for the punches, because we were going to have Matt be faster, Matt was going to have quick whiff boxer punches, while the panda would have done a slower but more damaging punch. But that idea ended up being scrapped, so we could make the animations the same. So I think Matt ended up being just one frame faster, which isn't a game changer or a game breaker or anything. It's just something that we animators had to do to make the game look more fluid.
So for the design process for our character animations, we use a lot of online tutorials and YouTube of how to animate like specific body parts, so like punching and the idle animation.
Alongside that, we actually did some people tests to get the walking animations done. In class, we would literally just get up and walk, and we'd have one of the designers, either Darius and I, watch the other person to make sure that we had our walking animations like as fluid as possible and not very clunky. We've been the group Semicolon, and that was just a quick little look into our Bits project Super Fighting Friends, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.